Metal tooling is a centuries-old art in which a soft metal is worked to create a raised design. In Mexico and South America, artists call this art form repujado. This technique can also be called repoussé or metal embossing. In this mini lesson, we are going to take the pendant we made last week and press designs into the metal. Let's think about why we created these. You made your pendant to represent a club. What club are you representing? And what is the thing that brings all of you together? Is it a sport, a hobby, an interest? What kind of picture or design can you make to best represent your club? I begin the process by putting my design on top of a magazine. If I put it on the hard table, I can't press the design into the metal because the metal can't bend. So I have my pendant on the magazine, and I'm just taking my pencil and I'm going around the inside edge just to get a feel for how it feels to press the design into the metal. Next, I'm going to think about how I want to design this piece. My club that I chose is the Nature Club, so I think what I'm going to do is just make a little landscape here and draw some small trees, some land, and here are a few birds. I'm just enjoying pressing into that metal. It's fun to make repeated lines and shapes. Metal tooling lends itself to a lot of pattern and texture because you're actually creating a texture when you push into the metal. You can feel that texture. So if you turn it over and look at the back, you can see where it pressed into the metal. I'm going to pop out a few little things on my pendant. I'm just popping out the clouds and the treetops. When I do this from the back, this is a technique called repoussé, which means in French to push out. So I just pushed out the tree and the little clouds. You can work entirely from the front if you want to, but if you want to push out a few things, just be careful not to push out your outline because you want those lines pressed down in it. So now I'm ready to start coloring. Make sure you use colored permanent markers to color on the metal, otherwise your regular markers will wipe off and smear. Next, you can design the paper part of your pendant. Once again, I like to go around the edge, and then I oftentimes like to add in repeated shapes or patterns. I like to use colored pencils in light colors on my construction paper because it shows up. And since I'm drawing small, I can get in small areas with the colored pencil. I'm going to design the same pendant, but a different way. I'm going to use the shape in the middle as a leaf shape for my Nature Club. Watch the process and have a few ideas in mind for your pendant. finish your pendant, you'll need a hole punch and a piece of yarn. I position my hole punch so I can see through to the paper and where I'm punching. I squeeze with both hands, open it up, and there's the hole. I prepare my thread like I do if I'm going to make a knot in fibers, where I take a piece of string and fold it over, except I don't have a needle on the end. I make my loop. I lift up my loop and pull the ends through, and you can see down where I normally have a needle, there's a loop. I take that loop, I put it through the hole in my pendant, and then I take the knot and I just stuff it through the hole. And I let go and I pull, and voila, you have a pendant that will hang around your neck.